Shalom to all my dear friends. This is Yehuda Glick from the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation in Jerusalem, talking to you from Jerusalem once again. We're a few days, almost a week after a very, very traumatic event that I went through. And since I think you are some of my closest friends in terms of sharing my thoughts and sharing my prayers and sharing my feelings and my emotions of what has gone over what I've gone through in the past few days. I felt the time has come to put you in on what thoughts that I've been involved in the last few days since what I call the second assassination attempt on my life. Second assassination attempt that I know of. I know that there's been several that I don't know of. The police in the past have arrested some people that were trying, that had an attempt to kill me. But here I am, after a second survival. After a second survival, here I am after a second survival of another assassination attempt, and I felt I really wanted to share with you the thoughts that I've been feeling in the last few days. First of all, I really want to thank so many people who have called me from all over the world and expressed their shock and expressed their love and expressed their embracing and expressed their support for everything that we've been doing in trying to turn Jerusalem into a foundation of faith in the world, and trying to have people involved in putting Jerusalem, raising the awareness of the idea of shalom. But many people have asked me many questions that are forced me and challenged me to answer these questions. But before they do that, I just want to begin with a prayer. Lately, we've been doing a lot of Song of Ascent, so I'll just do a Song of Ascent, number 120, the first of the 15. Shira ma'alot el Adonai, batzaratali karati vayaneni. Now, many people translate this sentence as a Song of Ascent. In my distress, I called the Lord and he answered me. Yeah, Shalom, Snoopy Brown. Thank you for joining, and everybody who joins, you're welcome to tell us where you're from. Anyway, but if the translation in Hebrew is not "in my distress, I called the Lord," the exact translation is "Shira Ma'alot," ascent of a song of ascent. El Adonai, to God in my distress I have called and He answered me. Meaning the beginning is like to Hashem, El Adonai, and though that was really what I was feeling in those moments when I was being beaten up, stepped on, kicked, punched, slapped. There I was on the floor in terrible pain. But I was begging Hashem that He should not neglect me, and that none of them should be able to have any kind of arms to kill me. And Hashem saved me, and He answered me, and He listened to my prayers. But then the psalm continues. It says, "O Lord, save my soul from false lips, from deceitful tongue. What can it give you? What can it add to you? Decisive tongue." And the psalm compares it, decisive false tongue, to sharpened arrows of a mighty man with the coals of broom tree. We know that the broom tree is something that the heat is there for a long time, and these sharpened arrows were towards the people that were speaking up in the name of false ideas. And listen to what the psalmist says: "Oya li ki garti meshech." Woe to me that I've sojourned in Meshech. I dwelt among the tents of Kedar. And then it says, "For a long time my soul dwelt with those who hate peace." I am at peace, but when I speak, they wage war. And this is what I felt. I came to speak peace, and they waged war. But I was always, for many, very, very often, I was asked to myself, thank you so much, Troy, for praying for me. I wanted to give an explanation which I felt in verse 5. Woe to me, I have sojourned in Meshech and dwelt among the tents of Kedar. What is Meshech and what are the tents of Kedar? Those of you who recall in the book of Genesis, right after the story of Noah, it gives the descendants of Noah, and it tells who his descendants are. And of those descendants, he has three sons, Shem, Ham, and Yefet. Yefet's children, Yefet's descendants, one of them is Greece, Yavan, Tiras, Torma, and Meshech. And I think that Meshech is the name of one of the nations from the descendants of Noah, who live in the west of Israel, somewhere, I would say somewhere in the areas of Greece. They represent the world of Greece. They represent the world of the Western world. Ohole Kedar, Kedar is one of the cities in the Arab world, the descendants of Ishmael. So what the psalm here is saying, woe to me, I've lived amongst people of Meshech and dwelt among people on the tents of Kedar, meaning that the idea of people who are speaking with words of false words, or people who are talking peace and actually meaning war. You can find them in the Western society. You can find them in the Eastern society. They're not a certain people. They're not only one kind. We can find people who represent false words in their tongue, and are actually inside them are expressing different things in all worlds. They're not that the Western society represents everything that is perfect, and the Eastern society is everything that is bad. It's not the Eastern Oriental societies that represent everything that's beautiful, and the Western societies everything that's bad. There are people like this in every society. There are people like this in Meshech and in Kedar, in the Arab society and in the European society. But it always depends on a person. He can choose whether when he's talking about shalom, he means shalom or he means war. And now I want to go back to the question that many people are asking me. Many people were asking me, why did you have to go there? What did you do that for? What did you need it? You know these people don't love you. So why did you go there? So I want to make some very important points that I think are very important to say. First of all, of course, by all means, if I would know that this was something that would endanger my life, I would have a second thought that I would have not done it. I have no plans of endangering my life. But I did know that I was going to a place that people wouldn't like me. And I think this is a very important thing that the Torah teaches us. Hashem created this world. He told us, he obligated man to try to turn this world into a good world. He told us that we have an obligation, we cannot ignore the world. And of course, it's easy to go visit friends. No, it's also easy to sit at home in your living room, reading your newspaper, drinking a good cup of wine. But the Torah tells us that we have to go out and try to improve this world. And a person who wants to lead a revolution in the world has to be willing to hear words that maybe are not nice to his ear. When I went to visit this family who had lost their son in a very tragic event, where a policeman accidentally shot this boy, this man. He was an autistic man. They thought he was carrying some kind of ammunition. And they shot him accidentally. And I felt that this is a chance I didn't know that I would for sure succeed. I wasn't 100% sure I would succeed. As a matter of fact, I knew that there were chances I wouldn't succeed. I didn't think I was going to endanger my life, but I thought there were chances that they wouldn't be willing to listen. But for the chance that they would be willing to listen, for the chance that I might be able to peel off some kind of obstacle that is standing in separating the people of Jerusalem. And we are here in Jerusalem under Jewish sovereignty as a city that unites, but we don't have any hate. And we're here to tell people we don't have hate. And I was hoping that in this event, on a very humanitarian event, I felt this would be a time that we had an opportunity maybe to touch genuinely the heart of a person who is suffering. And maybe to give some comfort. And maybe to pass on to them the message of Jerusalem as a city of comfort. I didn't know I was going to 100% succeed. And I didn't think, and I knew that maybe they didn't support what I'm doing and maybe they don't like me. But I thought maybe this kind of gesture could add to peace in the world. And that's what we're trying to do in Shalom Jerusalem Foundation. Shalom Jerusalem Foundation, we're trying to say to the world, look at the people that are near you. Look at the people that are different from you. Open your heart to those and feel humanitarian feelings. When they're happy, be happy with them. When they're going through suffering and pain, be there with them. When they're expressing a humanitarian challenge, go there. Do what you can to embrace them. This is what the Torah is telling us. Bring God to them. Have them included in your God. And when we go up to Temple Mount, and we're there representing all of humanity, and we have people who are connecting to the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation from all over the world, people who are requesting prayers on a daily basis in the shalomjerusalem.org, hundreds of people who ask us to pray on their behalf. When I go up and I read their needs, I try to feel what is bothering them, no matter where they're from. I try to identify with the suffering. And I try to ask Hashem to bring healing to their suffering. It can be a financial issue. It can be a marriage issue. It can be people who are challenged with the inability to bring children. It can be an issue of just an emotional issue, psychological issue. People who are in despair, people who are in depression. Whenever I read prayer requests on the shalomjerusalem.org, I try to be there, not because I'm a smart person, not because I think I'm smarter and I'm better than anybody else, but because we are there to bring this message of Hashem to the world. We're there to try to bring this message to Hashem to the entire world, to all of humanity. And yes, sometimes it's difficult. Yes, sometimes there are times that we go through difficulties. And I'm so thankful to Hashem for accompanying me and saving my life and telling me, Yehuda, your mission is not over. Yes, I have to once again check where I go and make sure I'm not endangering my life. We're not allowed to endanger our life. But I will continue going to people that don't necessarily like me, that don't necessarily agree with me. And I will try to be inclusive. I will take the precautions needed if there's any place that I may endanger myself, or if I'll decide not to go there. But if Hashem brought me to this situation where I saw the hate and the violence in the eyes of people, the cruelty in the eyes of these people who were trying to kill me, and I had there calling out to Hashem, and I said to Hashem, in my distress, I'm calling out to you, listen to me. And I was doing it in the name of Hashem, because I knew that I was coming there as a person representing the image of Hashem that Hashem planted in me. And I'm calling out to all of the people. I know that most of the people that are watching me now are definitely coming from a different world. There are people that send me and share with me their love and their support. But we have to know in our lives, sometimes we do things that are not convenient. Sometimes we have to go to places that are not convenient. And we can't be prejudiced towards anybody. We can't do any kind of stereotypes. Thank you so much, Melinda, for your blessing. Thank you from your blessing from New York. Thank you for the blessings from Jacksonville, from Robert, and from Telma, and from Troy. And thank you all so much. I really will pray that I'll be worthy of all of your blessings, that you're blessing me. But really, whenever I go to Temple Mountain, whatever I do in the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation, it's all there because I try not to be there on myself, not to receive any kind of personal honor. I try to be there for other people. By the way, I think that the events that we spoke about this week have to do the same exact thing. We prayed for the crisis going on in the United States. What happened in the United States? A policeman. Policemen are people that the law gave them the right to use force. What is the danger there when you have a right to use force? That you think that if I have the right to use force, I can do whatever I want. And to see the policeman there not listening to the call of this gentleman on the floor, George Floyd, yelling out, please, I can't breathe. And the policeman totally closed his ears and wasn't listening to the pain. And the policeman definitely came from a different world. And he was looking down at this person. And he couldn't even hear the yell. Of course, none of this justifies any kind of violent reaction. And I'm saying the same thing about the family El Khalak that I went to visit. The policemen who shot their son went easily using violence. Too easily using violence. And it was wrong and it should never have happened. But what's most important is we have to remember. Thank you so much, Troy. Yes, it really is heartbreaking, these stories. It's heartbreaking when we see overuse of force and violence and people who think that if they have any kind of power in their hand, they can use it freely. We have to remember, especially if you were awarded by the law a permission to use any kind of force, you have to remember that it should be used only for the purpose. The Torah warns us that even the king is not allowed to overdose on horses or on wives or on money. You have to remember it's so important, and it's important for every one of us. And every single one of us, and many times we get some kind of position that we have an ability to use authority. It could be as a parent, it could be as a teacher, it could be as a boss in work. And we have to remember that on the one hand, we have to be there and use our force as is needed, use our authority as is needed. But we also have to remember that it was given to us for a purpose. And we're not allowed to use it for any other purpose. Definitely not to promote ourselves. But no matter what happens, no justification for any kind of violence. Once again, I want to share with you how I thank Hashem for saving my life. How I thank every one of you for sending me your warm words of love. How I thank every single one of you for being with me and being part of this wonderful movement that we're going through right now, the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation, of bringing the word of Hashem from Jerusalem to the entire world, to all of humanity. And each and every one of you are part of this wonderful revolution. Because we're all united in one Hashem, in one God, the one and only God, whose throne is in Jerusalem, who has chosen Jerusalem to have his divine presence dwelling there. But again, God chooses us for missions. God gives us assignments. But we cannot misuse the power, the authority, the legitimacy we have to use it for our personal sake. We cannot misuse it for any way, a kind of arrogance. We cannot get any kind of understanding that if we have an authority, we are God ourselves. That was the sin of Eve when she ate from the apple, when the snake told her, you're going to be like God. But any kind of wrong does not justify any kind of violence. We have to unite together to make sure we are inclusive of every single person in our communities, in our environments. We have to do it as much as we can to refer to every single person as a human being, to see the human being in him, not the religion he belongs to, not the color of his body, not the profession he's involved in. Thank you so much, Troy and Name. Thank you so much, all of you, for your prayers. They're touching my heart. And I am, thank you for every one of your prayers. And I'm sharing my prayers with you. God should bless every single one of you, should preserve you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. God should illuminate his light upon all, his face upon all of you, and fill you with favor, with his favor. God should raise your faces, and God should raise his face upon you and put peace, put shalom upon all of you. And once again, join the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation movement. Be part of what we're doing. Be a partner in what we're doing. Come into shalomjerusalem.org. Put down your prayer request. Sign up to get our newsletter. Be part of whatever you can. Be our partner. Be our partner, because I couldn't do anything without every one of you that's watching us. Thank you so much, Tommy and Yusak. And I just love every one of you, and just you right where you're from. It always makes me happy to see where every one of you guys are from, and whoever you are. And I really once again, I really want to thank those who really were worrying for me. Thank you, Sylvia, for such wonderful words. Thank you. And I really want to apologize to anybody who was worrying for me, and I caused him to worry for me, especially people who are very close to me, of my family. And I really want to apologize to every one of them who are worrying for me. I will try to learn my lesson. And of course, all my friends and my students and my partners in the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation movement. We will continue trying to bring about good in this world. I will try not to worry you again. I'm not going into any effort to go through a third or a fourth assassination attempt. First, it's quite way beyond what most people go through. And I'm so thankful to Hashem for saving me. And I'm so thankful to Hashem that you here are my partners. God bless you all. Shalom from Jerusalem. So much love.